I kind of just realised that this may turn into a bit of a Chris Crocker moment. Incidentally, I did find out recently that I do have Spanish blood in my family tree, which probably explains a lot, but there you go. If you're wondering why I'm talking on such a crappy, cheapo webcam about something, there's been an issue in the press in the past few days that's caught my attention. It has a lot to do with sexual politics and feminism and gay rights, which is something that I'm quite interested in, and it also has a lot to do with Stephen Fry, who I'm also very interested in. There was a YouTuber by the name of Dear Philosophy who had the courage to come out and say a lot of things that I think ought to be said, and I thought might be worthwhile just to add my voice to the chorus, because in light of the stuff that's been said in the tabloids, which I think is in very poor spirit, I would like to rebut. So no doubt if you're British or if you follow the British press, you probably heard that he's quit Twitter, and I think the issue surrounding it sort of runs a bit deeper than who said what and who was offended by what. I think it's actually an issue of collective feminist attitudes, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But I'll read from the actual article that the whole kerfuffle was about, just for the sake of impartiality and sticking with the facts, which is something that I don't think the tabloids do very much. Anyway, this is his direct quote. Stephen said, "I think most straight men feel that they disgust women. They find it difficult to believe that women are as interested in sex as they are. For good reason. If women like sex as much as men, there would be straight cruising areas in the way that there are gay cruising areas. I feel sorry for straight men. The only reason women will have sex with them is that sex is the price they're willing to pay for a relationship with a man, which is what they want. They want a boyfriend and they want commitment. Of course, a lot of women will deny this and say, oh no, I love sex, I love it. But do they go around having it the way gay men do? I read this probably about a week ago, and I admit I winced a little bit for about 5 seconds, because I understand it's a gay man talking in a gay rag about the advantages of being a gay man. And I mean, I know in my experience and the experience of pretty much every other woman I know, I don't enjoy casual anonymous sex with guys I've just met, and I understand that there are gay men who do, and that's okay. The difference between the genders and the orientations, if you will, is just a part of life and a part of biology. But what I don't think is fair is the response that we've had in the media, and most importantly the tabloid media, because they're always so fair and balanced when it comes to these sorts of things. But instead of rabbiting on about it, which is something that I'm very good at doing, I think I might just read out a reply I made to a friend on DeviantArt when we were discussing this, which I know is a bit whorish, but at least I'll remain succinct. I'm not saying that women hate sex. I have first-hand evidence to the contrary. The issue I take is that an offhand comment and a generalisation has been turned into a storm in a teacup, one that has obviously caused him pain and vilification that he simply doesn't deserve, and he doesn't deserve it. Yes, I acknowledge that the magazine did not twist his words, but if you read that article, there are many things that he did not say or imply. That women hate sex, and like that's been in the headlines, like Stephen Fry says women hate sex, and he didn't say that. That women are inferior because they tend to attach sex to emotions and relationships more than men do. That men, gay or straight, who enjoy casual sex don't want relationships and don't want romance, and considering that he mentions his boyfriend in the same article, kind of puts that theory to bed. And that he thinks he's an authority on female sexuality, and the amount of times that he said, oh, I know nothing about vaginas and boobs on QI, like if I had a penny for every time. Anyway, the second-hand tabloid articles have been more than happy to put these words into his mouth. And he was interviewed for a gay rag. Isn't it just possible that he was trying to emphasise the advantages of being a gay man over being a straight man? Seriously, the bitchy remarks about straight women and lesbians that some gay boys I know spout out are 100 times worse than this, even when said jokingly. Vagina jokes. Yeah, I wouldn't repeat the ones I've heard on YouTube. And as a feminist, I find them silly and funny, and a quirky way in which they establish pride in their own sexuality. God, even I make bitchy jokes about men, so yeah. Also, what shits me about this is all the feminists feminists who think women's rights are about women being perceived as sacrosanct and infallible are coming out of the woodwork, i.e. Germaine Greer, and believe it or not, there are some books of hers that I actually like. I mean, I don't agree with what she says, but, you know, at least she's intelligent in a sense, and she does search for complexity sometimes. Yeah, it might not be relevant, but I did disagree with what she said about Steve Irwin as well. Anyway, they're bandying about the term misogynist, not only now, but whenever someone dares to characterise women as flawed and complex human animals, just as men are so constantly and casually criticised by feminists, including me. Anyway, what did I write there? Yes. If it were up to these women, Susan B. Anthony would not have been allowed to go to jail at all. If you don't know who Susan B. Anthony is, look her up on Wikipedia. She was awesome. Honestly, if we want equal treatment, we have to learn how to receive an honest critique, whether we agree with it or not in the end, and not behave like a frickin' 5-year-old throwing a tantrum every time someone dares to suggest that we're less than perfect, man or woman. Also, there are real misogynists out there. Wife beaters, serial rapists, pimps, and plain old law-abiding men who want us all to go back in the kitchen pregnant and wearing stilettos and push-up bras. And then there's Stephen, whose comments in the past have established that he sincerely feels that women are equal to men and should have every opportunity that they do. Forgive me for sounding sentimentalist, but I do love him dearly for everything he is. And even if he isn't an expert on the female sexual psyche, I feel that he has as much right as any man or woman to express his thoughts, whether they be deadly serious or slightly off the cuff. So yeah, I mean, Stephen's not going to watch this, but darling, you are so loved, you are so treasured, not just by me, but by so many other people, and God, this is going to be tomorrow's fish and chips, darling. I hope you do come back to Twitter, because it seems like something as stupid as this reaction should not stop you from enjoying something that obviously you do enjoy so much. And to the so-called feminists who think that a decent, kind, funny man making a few comments from a gay man's perspective about female sexuality is somehow tantamount to being the Antichrist, get over yourself, girlfriend! Anyway, I hope my comments have been constructive and haven't upset anybody, because that's not really what I'm setting out to do, even though there are certain tabloid journalists whose eyes I would like to scratch out at the moment, but that seems to always be the case. Call it a strange quote. Yeah, I mean, if anything, this has taught me sort of to be a better feminist, in the sense that just because a man criticises a facet of womanhood, whether he's right or wrong or not, you know, there's a difference between saying, oh, it seems a bit awkward that women want relationships more than sex, to, hey baby, show us your tits. There's a huge difference between that. To be a feminist, you have to say that women are equal to men and not better than men, because otherwise you're just as much of a bigot as any man who wants you to get back into the kitchen and make babies. Anyway, peace out. Thank you.